Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my beautiful Cancers. This is your April 2025 reading. This is going to be for Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising. Um, Many of you are intuitively guided to the readings now, and I thank you for paying attention to your intuition. Um, you certainly could have plans in the sign of Cancer. You could be in love with a Cancer. Whatever brought you, I just want to say thank you and welcome. Real quick, before I move on, well, there's a couple things I want to tell you about what I feel, what I was picking up for you as I was shuffling the cards. Because I always pre-shuffle, and that's when I'm just meditating and opening myself up to our spiritual team. So I'll tell you what I picked up, but real quick, I do want to let you know that I added a membership program. I already have one, which is a simple thank you. Um, but then I added a second one, which I actually had before, and Cancer. A lot of you were part of it. So this is going to be a membership program where you can ask me whatever questions you want to ask me. We are going to go live. Um, I'm going to shoot, I'm going to say once a week, but I'm not going to promise that because sometimes making that promise, things come up, but at least twice a week. And there really is no limit on the questions you can ask. I mean, sometimes it's like a personal reading. The only thing I ask is that, we keep it fair for everyone in the room. I will start the program or start going live once I get 4 members in that part of the program. We'll go live, and again, you can ask me whatever you want, and I will answer it together with my spiritual team and your spiritual team. So, and to know more info on that, right below the video in the more detailed section, well, I don't even think you got to go there. There's a little join button. If you click that, it'll break it down for you. It doesn't commit you to anything when you push join. It just shows you what it includes. Because I'm also going to do some special videos and that. So, anyways, enough of that. Um, so Cancer. What I was really picking up for you is I feel like this is going to be a month that may start. I feel like Mercury in retrograde, though it does go direct on April 7th. Um, I definitely feel like that could play a number on you. I don't know why I feel like it's affecting you more than a lot of other signs. But here's the thing, if you understand that it's Mercury in retrograde and it can cause miscommunication, problems with technology. But what I worry about the most is, when Mercury is in retrograde, and I'm ruled by Mercury, so um, I really feel it. But anyways, when it's in retrograde, you just want to think about what you're about to say. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we can say things that we really don't mean, but then we can't take them back. Um, so that's I feel like your month is like starting, I don't want to say at a low point, but I feel like March was really about, I feel like you probably had more confusion in March than, I don't want to say ever, but I feel like April is starting to make you feel better and better and better and better. I feel like once Mercury goes direct, and yeah, there is a shadow period. However, I feel like you are going to start receiving epiphanies, ideas. Um, I feel like this is going to be the perfect time to work on existing relationships, to strengthen them. I feel like this is a great time, really just to fall in love. Again, I feel like after Mercury goes direct, but you have a lot of planetary, I don't know what it is. I just asked my guides, and there's a lot of I know Jupiter is part of it. but I can't remember the dates. So, anyways, I do feel like, as the month continues on, it only gets better and better and better for you. It just feels like, it's like shaking off March. Not that March was bad for everyone. I'm not saying that, but I feel like there was some type of confusion or unclarity, and I feel like now you're receiving that clarity. I also feel March is going to be a great time for you to manifest. Truly, great time for you to manifest. So think about the energy, your energy. Like, okay, so I want to manifest, whatever it may be. Remember, the fine art of manifestation is being what it is that you want. So, like, if I want great love, I have to be able to give great love. If I want great opportunities, I have to be willing to put the work in. It's like you working hand in hand with your spiritual team this month. I feel like this is a month that's going to be off the charts for you. All right, so enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into the cards. I'm going to bring the lid down. Gonna grab a drink real quick. I can't think of anything else I need to tell you. I feel like I'm missing something, but I guess it'll come to me when it comes to me. All right, so Cancer, I brought out the romance angels in case love comes up, but I already feel there's going to be love. Um, Again, whether it's an existing relationship or new, we'll see. We'll see, but I feel excited about it. But when I feel that way, it's my guides who are putting that energy within me. We are going to use the major arcanas. I use these for bullet points for anyone who's new. I feel like they bring so much value to the reading. Of course, we will get Mother Mary's words of wisdom. That's actually what we'll start with. We're going to use the Gilded Tarot to clarify and go deeper. And deep we will go. And that's why the readings are long, by the way, because we go deep. For your main spread, interesting, I was really called to the Universal Tarot. And I don't know that I use this that often for you, so maybe that's a good thing. So this will be your main spread. Okay, so let's go ahead and officially open up the tarot portion. And we will start with Mother Mary. Whispering words of wisdom, let it be. One of my favorite songs. When I was a young teenager, we lived in a college town, and I remember riding my bike through the college, and there was an outside concert going on. My mom worked at the college, so I was just riding through there, and there was this concert going on, and I heard the song from the Beatles, "Let It Be," and it just like touched me so deeply. I'll never forget it. It's like I was meant to hear it that time, and I was a young teenager, but I remember it so clearly. So, anyways, not sure why I'm bringing that up, but all right. Tenderness. Someone else just got this. Tenderness. I don't know if it's Gemini. I I am both gentle and powerful. The Empress's energy. The beautiful Empress's energy. I feel like that's a reminder to you, that you are powerful. Where'd that power come from? From your previous experiences, the things that you've overcome. But yeah, it's like, being gentle to me means that you're not allowing like past experiences, let's say of a negative nature, to really affect you. Um, some of you could have forgiven, you know what I mean? But again, the Empress, and that's what I feel with this card is the Empress's energy. She's great at manifesting. She's great at picking up the signs that our spiritual team always sends us. Okay, what else we have? Caring. I feel like you get this all the time, and I feel like you're one of the most caring signs out there. Heaven cares for me, and I keep my heart open to caring about myself, others, and the world. So look at that tenderness and caring. However, there's power here. That's what I'm picking up. Like there's power behind this loving type energy. It's like I don't have to shut my heart down. And if you think of the Empress, this is someone who truly trusts her intuition. So she doesn't create like these human barriers around her. She lets her energy be the determination of whether something is good for her or him or not. Again, that's that power. Once you've gained that, and I feel like that even comes through the strength card, but once you gain that, I don't feel like you ever lose it. I'm saying I don't feel like you ever lose it. You don't ever lose it. All right. We'll put Mother Mary right there. And let's bring in the major arcanas. So I usually shoot for 3 to 4, but very seldom do I deny if more comes out. It depends. Okay, well, your cards wanted to come out right away. All right, well, hello, Temperance. This is about divine timing. This is about trusting in divine timing. Temperance's first message is patience. I feel like March might have been the month of patience, but I feel like April, maybe like after the 7th, it feels like then it's divine timing. If you just look at what she's doing, she's mixing the loving waters between these 2 cups. Can it just represent a soulmate on its way? Maybe. But something is on its way. And it's coming in divine timing. So to me, that's good news. Also, card is Sagittarius, by the way. Okay. All these are reversed, so we're going to turn them around. Look at this. We have the world, the next chapter. So, with temperance right before that, trust in divine timing. There is a new chapter. It doesn't have to mean like my whole life is changing, but something is, it feels like it's opening up for you, to be honest. We have beautiful, the sun, your illuminator, also your neighbor, Cardelio. But when you see the sun, to me, it like promises a brand new day, brand new feeling. This is really playful type energy. All work and no play. But I have to tell you also, when you see the sun, it means there won't be anything to fear because anything done in the dark when the sun is here will come to the light, period. But I'm not feeling that like anything needs to come to the light. If anything, I feel like you already knew that. Maybe you've already dealt with that. Okay. We have the strength card. Interesting. Um, Man, I don't know who's reading this it was, but I got the strength card and the sun side by side, double Leo, by the way. Um, this is an 8. Eights do stand for new beginnings. Strength card is about, looking within ourselves. It's about our own inner demons. What do we need to overcome? Do we need to find balance? It can talk about like addictions, things that we needed to overcome. But I feel like with the sun right there, you did. This is where that power that Mother Mary brought out, that's where it comes from. I feel like the strength card, because we're looking within, I feel like it's such an important energy because I feel like once we do that, well, let me put it a different way. I think it's really important that we know all sides of ourselves, right? I know the light, I got to know the shadow, but I have a feeling it wouldn't be hard to figure out. Um, and I've got to learn to balance the two. I love that the sun is right there. If there's any, let's say, lasting issues that need to be dealt with, then the sun, it will illuminate that for you. But honestly, with the world right before the sun, I feel like this is energy you've already have overcome. And look at our goggles. Sign of infinity, as above, so below. No beginning, no end. Mm. It's almost like temperance is trying to get you ready for something. Well, hello, lovers. Jeez. Hello, lovers. So your other neighbor on the other side, card of Gemini. The meaning of this card is a head over heart decision, and that could certainly be the case. Do I follow my heart or follow my head? I feel like the lovers, though, I feel like if it's speaking of love, I feel like there's undeniable chemistry, and you have an angel's influence over these lovers, and even divine here, who, by the way, was mixing the loving waters of those two cups. Well, could this be the two cups? Maybe. And then, well, hello, awakened hangman. Beautiful. It's like a spiritual awakening. You know what I feel like? I feel like, how do I say this? Hmm. Okay, so I feel like as it relates to love, I love that this awakened hangman is coming next to the lovers. Because to me, that means that both these lovers are in the awakened state. It doesn't mean I'm done learning spiritually. I feel like that we're always learning, right? We're always evolving exactly as we were meant to. But this awakened hangman is mirroring temperance, which again is about trusting in divine timing. So, in a way, I feel like temperance might have been waiting on either both these lovers or one of these lovers to come to this awakened state. When you're in the awakened state, the truth is the truth. You can't deny the truth, even about oneself. It's like it's so clear. Um, but again, I feel like it's really important that we do know ourselves, especially if this is talking about love. And then the sun there, it's like a double dose of good. This hangman is looking right back at the lovers. It's like this angel's influence has reached certain people who maybe are meant to like both be like awakened in this time of their life. This just might be the perfect time for something. I love this image because I feel like they're just about to touch. And I feel like when their fingers do touch, I feel like this electric shock goes through their body. Again, it feels undeniable. Like, did you feel that? I felt that. And by the way, if this is speaking of love, I don't feel resistance. I don't feel resistance. Now, maybe there had been But again, the awakened hangman would mean, especially because it's looking at the lovers and marrying divine's energy, divine timing. It simply feels to me like this is what divine is waiting for. And that opens up this new chapter. In this new chapter, you have the sun. You know what I mean? It's like after a period of stormy weather, it's like the sun comes out and it's like a brand new day. That may be exactly how this happens too. All right, well, let's bring in the Gilded Tarot and let's go deeper. Let's see if we get any synchronicities. All right, let's give him a cut. And let's give him a shuffle. So who do we have on the board? We have double Leo, Gemini, um, Sagittarius so far. But, I'm going to say, I don't really feel, well, often I don't feel it's really about a particular sign. It's about the energy. So we'll see. All right. We have the Magician, the Manifester. Three swords. Well, I don't want to manifest that. I may want to think about that for a second. And I say that because when you look at this image, it's like this person sees these swords coming. It's almost like I know I'm going to get my heart broken before my heart gets broken. But I feel like it's with a certain person. It's almost like three strikes and you're out. Maybe you've given someone three chances. Because I do not feel like that is what you're trying to manifest. And, there's that infinity sign going right back to the strengths card. So that could talk about, like, again, overcoming that Three of Swords. It does feel like it's already happened. There's no way divine would be like, okay, especially when you're in the awakened state, well, I'm going to bring you in a reason to break your heart. Quite the opposite, especially with the sun. But listen, the sun's also illuminating the Three of Swords. So, I may want to look at that as in, if it's again relating to love, I just feel, I don't know, like I do know, but I feel like no more. All right, let's keep going. And even the hangman in the awakened state, and you tie that back to the Three of Swords, where this person literally is looking up at these swords that are piercing their heart. Again, it's your truth. It's your truth. Like, you can't deny what you see, what you know. It could be like someone who just plays mind games with you. And then I'm thinking Mercury in retrograde, it could be certainly difficult, if not pretty bad communication, but I feel like it'd be against you. So I just get this feeling that for some of you, like you tried what you gave what you could give. I don't feel like something turned out the way you expected. But listen, maybe it wasn't meant to. Maybe that was only meant for that period of time. Because again, this is about what's opening up that's new. Well, we already know the Three Swords is old. It's already happened. Even the strength card talks about the things that have already happened, but you finding balance. Look at this. Beautiful. Okay, so I should have just picked up this card because I feel like you're not taking this anymore. You've had enough of heartache. Um, though I am hoping you're not saying, I'm just going to completely shut my heart down because I feel like Mother Mary's giving you the opposite and, opposite advice. Like, don't shut your heart down due to past people. A perfect example is, um, some people may think, like we have double Leo on the board, so let's use Leo as an example. A Leo could have hurt you, and then you now think all Leos will be that way, but it's just not the case. I can think of Sam's daughter-in-laws who are both Geminis, but they are so different. I mean, they're night and day. Um, so I feel like this is just saying, clear that energy so that you can like manifest. And I don't even know that you're looking to manifest love because the Nine of Cups is this inner harmony with the sun above it. Nine of Cups is really loving one's life again. Doesn't mean everything is going perfectly, but it's perfect enough, especially with the sun right there. And I do read the nine as singular. So I feel like whoever did the swords in your heart, I don't feel like they're coming along for the ride. I feel like they can't. You just know the truth of them. It's almost like you evolved. Did they evolve? And I am talking about the person in the Three of Swords. The lovers, I feel like is someone else, to be honest, because I feel like first you're in this singular state, but loving it at the same time. So I don't feel like I'm dying to have love. But let's also remember the Nine of Cups is about fulfillment of wishes. Now, let's manifest from the Nine of Cups energy and holy shit, what we bring back to ourselves. Or we manifest from the Three of Swords. That just means that I expect bad things to happen, and they do. But in the Magician's energy with the Nine of Cups, well, I expect good things to happen, and I'll be damned. They do. I just feel like who's ever been taken away your peace of mind, who's ever had you like in a worried state, like probably over and over again, there does come a time I feel like where I just can't take it anymore. But I would say learn from it. And that's not to say it's your fault. I mean, learn from it just as in, okay, what type of person was this? Was this person living in a lower vibrational energy? Did it require me to lower my vibration to be with them? Well, I don't think you'll do that long. Well, then again, you are such caring and loving people. You may do it longer than needed. But I feel like the Nine of Cups is a great omen because, you know, I do feel like you're probably single in this energy. Um, but I just kind of feel like not for long. All right, let's keep going. We have the Knight of Wands. Beautiful. It's interesting. This knight is looking right back at the Knight of Cups, the Nine of Cups. And this knight, it first of all, it can be fast moving energy. But this knight really carries or brings in passion and desire. Sometimes it can feel like being swept off one's feet. It's so close to the lovers. Could it be? Maybe. But it's definitely in, and I also want to say it could certainly be like those epiphanies that I felt like you're gonna start receiving. Not that you're not already receiving them, but I feel like you're listening. You're hearing them like never before. And I hope that you really are trusting in divine as it relates to, not giving up on love. Again, doesn't have to mean that you're looking for love. That this can, again, certainly be someone coming in and just like sweeps you off your feet. But let's see. Let's keep going. Wow. Another night, back to back. Knight of Pentacles, one of my favorite energies. To me, this is your guardian angel. This night carries a message, much like Temperance, and the first message is patience. This night tells you I come at the right time, not before and not after. When the timing is right, this is when I come in. This night carries a pentacle, and to me, a pentacle is something that's coming into your physical world. It is truly meant to enhance your world, your life, not deplete it. And that's why this night doesn't come in until, again, the timing is right. I have a feeling it had something to do with this hangman in the awakened state. It's coming right under the lovers. And then we have the King of Pentacles. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. But what I want to say is look what he's holding. That pentacle. And also coming under the awakened hangman. It's like, here's this night. I'm coming in at the right time. This is about divine timing. It literally is opening up the next chapter. But you, and I do feel another, if nothing else, you have more spiritual clarity than you probably ever had. I feel like because you're no longer allowing these swords, it's like you are drawing a line in the sand, like no more. But that's probably why I felt like I hope and pray you don't shut your hearts down. And again, it doesn't have to mean like I'm wishing for love. I want love. No. I feel like in the Nine of Cups, I'm just open. I'm just open. Right? There's really no restrictions around me. Again, you already have the power and the gentleness. I mean, someone may come in and just literally sweep you off your feet. But I definitely don't feel it's the person of the Three of Swords. I'm not going to say it can't be a repeat appearance. But again, the sun will illuminate that for you. You know what I mean? Like, okay, someone comes back and they've broken your heart 3 times. Why wouldn't you break my heart the 4th time? You know what I mean? And I feel like there's no one that can come into your life at this point, the way it's reading, and lie to you, and you not be able to catch it very quickly. So, kind of want to put that behind us because I feel like what's happening next just feels quite beautiful. I mean, you have Divine's energy and the Knight of Pentacles and the Magician and the Awakened Hangman. I mean, hello. But I do love that this king, who is actually looking into the reading, is holding the pentacle that the Knight of Pentacles promises it will bring in the right time. Right under the lovers. Now, does that have to mean it's an earth sign? It doesn't. To me, it means someone who would be grounded. And it doesn't even have to be love. It could just be someone who's offering an opportunity for you. But I don't know why I can't, I feel like at this point, I can't exclude that this could also be love, but it could be both. You know what I mean? It could be like someone who um may help you in some way. You know, like if I'm looking for a loan, well, I feel like the King of Pentacles would give me this loan. Again, whatever it is I'm trying to manifest over here. You know, part of me is thinking there's no way the Three of Swords could still exist with this energy that's on the board. So I know that's what was. I'm not going to say everyone is over that energy, but I feel like if you think about it, like what good is it doing me to remain in that energy also? This is the next chapter, Cancer. And by the way, the King of Pentacles, to me, talks about loyalty, someone who's grounded, someone who makes their own money. And what I mean by that is it's not someone that you have to take care of financially. Probably they'd want to take care of you. But I feel like I really don't need you to. But I feel like that's coming more from just the love of their heart. All right, but let's keep going. We have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands to me is like my Fool. And I say that because Page of Wands is someone, to me, who takes a risk. You know, not all these risks pay off. This is someone who has learned how to get back up again. You know, like, I feel like the Page of Wands would say to the Three of Swords, okay, so that happened, and that was hard, but I'm not going to allow that to stop the blessings that want to come into my life. You know, this is action oriented, and it may be calling for your action. All right, well, let's keep going. Just had the Emperor flip around in the deck. Card of Aries. Interesting. He's coming under the Three of Swords. I don't know why I don't feel like it's him though. You know, the father figure. The Emperor is normally someone that we can look up to, normally has compassion and empathy within their hearts. Someone who really does want to help the underdog. And I don't, you know, for some of you, yes, it could be Aries, but I'm not really feeling like I'm feeling more about the type of person. You know, I don't feel like it's this person who caused the Three of Swords because it's mirroring the world. So I feel like what it's actually saying to you is the type of person. And again, compassionate, empathetic. I care about those, you know, who are suffering. I want to help where I can help. Why? Because they've been there. They've gone through it. I feel like they probably have had the Three Swords themselves. You know, but the Emperor is not again going to allow the past to predict their present nor their future. This is also great energy for, let's say, this Knight of Pentacles. By the way, I feel like the Knight of Pentacles, you know, again, talks about the right time. I bring in this pentacle to truly enhance your life, but I don't feel like it's a one-time thing, especially with the Nine of Cups here, because the Nine of Cups is fulfillment of wishes, not just a wish. So this was, and why I'm saying that is this is also great energy where I felt like someone might be like wanting to help you financially. And maybe you're starting like your own business. The Emperor is great at that. I often read the Emperor as the business owner. Definitely, if it's not a business owner, it's definitely someone who would be at the top of their field, I feel. But let's also say that this is about you beginning something. The Page of Wands right before that is also great energy. So it is taking chances. And maybe it's taking a chance on yourself, bringing something to light that maybe you've been wanting to bring to light. I love the Sun, the Nine of Cups, and the Emperor together because if it's relating to what you do for a living, it's so positive. And I could even see some of you like working from home and loving every minute of it. The freedom of it doesn't mean, again, it's not calling for work, hard work. It does. But if I love what I do, well, then I'm more than willing to put in the work. Okay, keep going. We'll come back and look at that Three of Swords. But it's almost like I don't want to give it the time of day anymore. Like, I just want it to go away. Ace of Wands, mirroring the sun. It's go time. You know, I love this coming also under the Nine of Cups because I did feel that you're going to be receiving in the month of April more epiphanies than, and uh, I was just going to say more than you ever have. But here's the thing. I feel like because again the hangman's in the awakened state, this is your reading. So that tells me that you are in the awakened state or very close to it. Um, where was I going with this? Oh, these epiphanies, I mean, literally, I feel like I could take these epiphanies, apply them to a business, and see real success with that. This asks you to follow your passions, your desires, and you have passion rushing in. But you also have your guardian angel coming in. Like, wow. Three of Pentacles. Also, one of my favorite energies. And one of the main reasons is because in the Three of Pentacles, it talks about your individuality, what you do in the world. But it's about other people admiring you for who you are, what you bring to the table. This isn't the energy where someone's going to come up and be like, okay, well, you got to change this and change that. No, you're being admired for exactly who you are. It can certainly even talk about partnerships, you know, and not just love, like the right partner to help me on this quest I have. And I'm saying a partner, it could be an advisor, it could be someone who just wants to help you succeed. But this is definitely saying, if you look at this three compared to the Three of Swords, this one is telling you be proud of who you are today. This one here is the heartache of yesterday. But this is about what you want to create and who you are in a core level. It's like that hangman in the awakened state is making a lot of sense with what we're seeing. Again, other people admiring what you do. And, something I felt before even 2025, but for 2025 is like true connections on many different levels. I definitely felt like a lot of people were going to be starting businesses, their own business, you know, this year. And this is perfect energy for that. If you have any questions like, am I on the right path? Will anybody even, like, if I start this, will anybody even seek me out? That's exactly what's happening in the Three of Pentacles. Other people are admiring you, but they're admiring you because of truly who you are and what you bring to the table. Now, as this relates to love, phew, that's exactly what I want to see because in the Three of Pentacles, I don't have to wear a mask. I don't have to pretend that I'm something that I'm not. This is everyone appreciating everyone for exactly who they are. I can't help but think that you're also receiving like, money or the right information, something that allows you then to level up on your money is what I feel like. And it can be in different directions. I also love the Knight of Pentacles or the Knight of Wands right above that. There's that passion, there's that desire. And then you're putting it into use. You got the ball now, put it to use. All right, let's keep going. Seven of Pentacles. Beautiful. First of all, Holy Pentacles. All right, let's see if we can get one more. Oh my gosh, look at this. The Eight of Pentacles. You have the perfect energy, Cancer. And even those intuitively guided, this is the perfect energy for really building success for yourself. Seven of Pentacles, to me, also, you have three energies to talk about patience. The Seven of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, and Temperance all talk about patience. Sometimes the patience is them waiting on us, maybe to like put the Three Swords behind us. Because here's the thing, the Nine of Cups is putting you in the energy of joy with the Sun right above you and the Ace of Wands right below you. And very powerful energy on each side of that. So the Seven of Pentacles speaks of what I feel is what was meant to be in your life. And I do feel when you see the Seven of Pentacles, everything was meant to be. So even that Three of Swords. So it taught me something. And I'm telling you, sometimes it's as simple as I now know what I don't want in love. And let me tell you something else. I feel like if you feel like you are like either about to reach this awakened state or, you're just coming closer and closer, you won't accept less because that means your vibration has evolved. And I never think we should lower our vibration to be with another. Matter of fact, I feel like it should be the opposite. If you want to be with me, well, I'm up here. I'm not down here. I'm up here. You gotta match my vibration. I love the Seven of Pentacles also coming under that Knight of Pentacles, but the Seven of Pentacles is also mirroring the Lovers. So that feels like it was meant to happen. I feel like the Seven of Pentacles is like your garden. You plant these seeds, you give them time, right, to blossom, but then the perfect time to pick those seeds. Well, the Knight of Pentacles, that's exactly what is happening here. You're receiving these seeds. I feel like there's at least two seeds that are coming to fruition. Another way of looking at this is like an apple tree. Not all the apples are going to become ripe at the same time, but I'm going to pick the ripe ones. And the ones that are not, I'm going to give them the time and the patience that they need. And relating to the garden, the sun is a beautiful energy to help that garden grow, help that garden blossom. And then you have the Eight of Pentacles. Wow. I feel like, especially mirroring the Knight of Wands, like taking chances. This could certainly talk about beginning something new. Eight of Pentacles, the meaning is the willingness to go into something as the apprentice, but knowing that if you put your focus on it, you will grow. You will evolve to what I feel is the master teacher. So this could certainly be a new beginning in your money or an advancement in your money. Also, I want to say, let's say you have an existing business. This could be another avenue off of that business, like another revenue source. Your money looks very, very good, but you're the one who's driving this. Your love, if we just get rid of that, looks very, very good. But you have a lot to do with that. That's what Temperance says to us. Work hand in hand with us. We'll guide you, but then it is your action steps that actually bring it to fruition. So that's to me what that Ace of Wands means. But again, mirrored by the sun, it's just, I feel like what a month you're going to have. And by the way, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. I even love the Eight of Pentacles mirroring the awakened hangman. Um, and I know many of you have like spiritually based businesses or you've been thinking about it. This may be just the right time. Again, that Knight of Pentacles, it could be giving you the way to create what it is you want to create. Don't forget though, it does require your action. But be yourself, do your thing, take these epiphanies, put them to use, watch the money start flowing to you. As it relates to love, I feel the same thing. Be who you are. Like don't go into, let's say you meet someone new, like don't put on mask because I feel like you have to know your self-worth. And when you know your self-worth, you don't put on mask. Like this is who I am. But I feel like, and you should be proud of that. All right, see it's on the bottom of the deck. Another ace, Ace of Swords. This could be communication that's coming in. Um, the Ace of Swords, like I think it's a psychic tarot. It underneath it puts triumphant success. So to me, that means this Ace of Swords, first of all, it's the truth. What's ever spoken through the Ace of Swords is truth. Five of Swords below that. Some of you may be giving someone like your final words. Especially if you've made that decision to end whatever has been causing these swords in your heart. And I do feel like you do, because then we move into the Nine of Cups. You can't have both. They don't fit together, right? This is a lot of sadness. This is a lot of trying to figure out, sometimes we blame ourselves. And listen, it's not to say maybe we had a little blame. I don't know. Um, but I do feel like you do overcome it because right away we get the Nine of Cups, and that's your inner harmony. So taking the power away from that Three of Swords. Okay, it happened. But what did it teach me? Well, it taught me not to go with lower vibrational energy. It taught me that I can't fix other people as it relates to love, and nor am I meant to. Doesn't mean you're not meant to help people, but help people who you know your help will help them to evolve versus helping people who just take and take and take. You know, it's like that Three of Swords and that Nine of Cups. It's going to be one or the other. It can't be both. All right, let's bring in the Gilded Tarot and let's go over this. Let's go deeper. All right. So we're going to start at the beginning, but read it as a whole. You know, how beautiful Temperance and the Magician there together. Okay, the Emperor. So I did feel that, like, the Emperor coming under the Three of Swords. Like, was the Emperor the cause of the Three of Swords? I don't think so. Because we have the Emperor again. And you know what it feels like to me? If it's not relating to, like, starting a business, which it could be both. I feel like what it's telling us about the other lover, it is someone that we can look up to. It is someone who has their shit together. It is someone who's lived probably a lot of similar experience as you have. They've had their heart broken, but that heartache is no longer affecting them. They could be a single father. You could be a single mother, or the other way around. And I'm saying that because I feel like in the nine, I'm probably single, but I kind of feel like probably not for long. Of course, that will be up to you. Like, I do feel like this Knight of Wands is kind of sweeping you off your feet. And I feel like in a couple different ways. It's almost like it's allowing you to believe in magic again, that life can be good again. Okay. This could also represent someone who's a little older than you, though it doesn't have to. But even the energy that Mother Mary brought out, where I felt like the Empress's energy, and now we have the Emperor, who I call my power couple. We'll see if the Empress comes out, but like I already felt her energy with Mother Mary. All right. We have the Six of Swords, beautiful over the Three of Swords. Interesting because when you see the Six of Swords, which really talks about moving on from toxicity, toxic people, toxic ideas, toxic communication, whatever it may be. And you have that Five of Swords right under the Ace of Swords. I feel like someone is speaking their piece. You may be breaking up with someone, but if you are, I feel like you are speaking your piece. Though I want to say in the same breath, I don't feel like you need to speak it for long. It may simply be like, I am moving on. Um, but for some of you, it may not even be like telling that person you are just moving on. You're moving on up to the east side. Six of Pentacles or Six of Swords, where it really does speak about moving on. It's touching the world, which is your next chapter. So I feel like that's really good news. You're not bringing the toxicity along, right? This new chapter that's opening up, you now know what has been toxic in your life. And I feel like you're making that decision of no longer accepting And it makes sense. Again, I know you're probably bored with me saying, again, the awakened hangman, but I feel like that is such an important energy. And it is of a high vibrational energy. I'm not saying perfect. Don't shoot for perfection. Don't only take people that you feel are perfect because there is no such thing. But here's the thing. Six of Swords temporarily can feel a little difficult because it is a change, but it does feel like a change that needed to happen and a change I feel like that's going to come back and serve you very well. All right, we have the Seven of Cups. Look at this, the Ten of Pentacles. Wow. Hello, abundance. All these pentacles, and they're all beautiful pentacles, by the way. Ten of Pentacles. But that's you creating it. You know, what's coming between it? The Seven of Cups. That is you making a decision. That means there's a choice to be made. Ace of Wands underneath that. Someone could have shown at this point. But I don't want to take away your blessing. And what I mean by that is, again, it's you in the Three of Pentacles doing your thing. And other people, well, I feel like, let's say I have a shop and I'm selling things. Well, I feel like out of the blue, people are going to start finding my shop and start purchasing. You know, this is creating abundance for yourself, but it's saying that it is possible. Not only is it possible, but it's actually showing. And touching the strength card, again, another reason why we shouldn't look back with regret or, and I know it's easier said than done, but truly, I feel like some of these lessons that we've been learning, or another way of putting that, as our souls are evolving and we're understanding more and more like what needs to go for me to have the type of success and even love that I truly want. I could see some of you doing something where you're helping others to overcome exactly what you had to overcome. So I see that Ten of Pentacles as many different things for different people, but it's your passion. And I have to say, I often don't feel like in the Ten of Pentacles or the Ten of Cups that you're alone. And that may be why I felt within the King of Pentacles and the Emperor, like they have their own money. This, the Devil in reverse. Could be Capricorn. But here's the thing, coming over the Knight of Pentacles. Wow. So if it's not a Capricorn for you, then what that speaks about is potential temptations. Well, the Strength card could have talked about that also. Things that you've overcome, like of a temptation nature. The devil can cast delusions. You know what's interesting is in the devil's energy in a lot of decks, you'll see the lovers. And you'll see the devil's influence over the lovers. So, of a negative nature. But it's reversed, which makes sense. Why? The awakened hangman. And I love that it's touching the lovers and this Knight of Pentacles. So, boy, have you overcome something. You're no longer allowing lower vibrational energy to pull you down. It's the opposite now. Some of you have overcome things yourself too, though. You know what I mean? Like, again, when I think of the strength card, sometimes I think of like addictions, the devil, I think of temptation. But I feel like this, because it's in reverse, this is the overcoming of all that. All right, we have the Three of Pentacles again. Beautiful. So Three of Pentacles mirroring the Emperor. And then we have the Eight of Wands. You have a couple energies that's really talking about it's go time. You know, this is coming under the Magician. And I feel like this is a perfect explanation of the law of attraction because I feel like four of these wands are going out into the universe. Those are my intentions. And four of the wands are coming back. So it's the universe meeting my intentions. You're taking a chance, you're taking a risk, but it's all like in divine's energy. So I feel like there's no fear. Well, there could be fear, but I feel like there doesn't feel like there's any restrictions. Look at this, the beautiful sun again. Now it's right over the emperor. So I have to say the emperor for March got a lot of bad raps in people's readings, but not here. Not here. Sun's right over him or her. And again, I'm reading it two ways. I can't help it. I'm reading it as you and what you do in the world and the ability to really create abundance for yourself. Then I see that Three of Pentacles again. Three of Pentacles feels like minded energy. Let's not forget this king is right under the awakened hangman and so close to the lovers with the Knight of Pentacles looking right at this king. Now, I do feel like the king and the emperor are the same person. I feel like it's giving you a picture of what this person's like. We have the Page of Swords over the Ace of Wands mirroring the sun. Could certainly be your voice. Some of you, that's what you've been learning, like how to speak your truth. It could be what the Ace of Swords is about also. You know, I feel like a page is learning. And this page, it's the art of communication. But the Ace of Wands underneath it, it's like trust your voice. It definitely feels like your voice is coming from the light. And it's sitting right next to the sun also. Some of you, this could be your final goodbye because I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like this happens all the time. I know when I do personal readings, someone old, well, someone who we were with who didn't treat us well. And then you move on, which definitely looks like you have. I could see them making a repeat appearance. But here's the thing. I don't feel like you would accept it. Matter of fact, I feel like you would say your piece immediately. And for those who are like, but can't they evolve? Of course, they have the same opportunities we have, but that doesn't mean everybody does. You know, I would say, of course, they have an opportunity to evolve, but because the Six of Swords is coming over that, we know that not only was it heartache, but it was toxic to you. Toxic to you. And you moving on is literally, I feel like, what opens up the world's energy. Okay. It's interesting because I feel the abundance, like what you do and what you're going to be doing in the world for those who are just beginning. But I also feel the same energy with love. Like they both feel very abundant. Let's use that word. Eight of Wands can also be fast moving energy. But again, nothing to fear because the sun is right there. You might be manifesting faster than you, like the speed of light. But I love it if you're in the Nine of Cups, you know, inner harmony, believing that your wishes can be fulfilled. We have the Queen of Swords. It's almost like a younger self, current self. We have the King of Cups coming under the reversal of the Devil. Beautiful. Nine of Pentacles, successful self employment. Right over the Eight of Pentacles, literally where it says, allow yourself to be the apprentice. Put your focus there and you will be the master teacher. Well, hello, master teacher. This is independent success. I feel like that's why I was feeling like you're not alone in that ten of Pentacles. But first and foremost, do I love that you have the Nine of Cups and now the Nine of Pentacles? You're taking care of you first and foremost. You know, I feel like when I'm in this energy, and this is my energy, it's a card of Virgo, but I do have my own business. And not that it's making me rich, quite the opposite, but it is giving me freedom. And then again, doing exactly what I feel you were made to do. We have the Nine of Wands. And then, hello, King of Pentacles again. So we have the King of Cups here. Though I feel like this page, moving into the Queen, I do feel like this is like my younger self, and now this is my current self. And I often feel the Queen of Swords is someone who does speak her truth, her peace. Though I do feel like it's you. And I know that confuses a lot of people the way I read. Um, but that's how I read. I read the energy. You know, I'll say the sign, but then I kind of forget about that sign because I know it can be anyone. You know, like we're seeing the King of Pentacles, Earth, right? But that Earth could be sun, moon, rising, Venus, Jupiter, you know what I mean? It could be many different things. I feel like what it's talking about is someone who is grounded, someone who feels like they do have their shit together. And he now is mirroring that Ten of Pentacles. So I feel like we are creating a happy, abundant home. Nine of Wands right before that. That's reflection. But this is kind of like, again, relating back to Mother Mary, because this reflection, you are looking back, but you're looking back with the sense of power. You know what I mean? Like a sense of, like, I know the truth now. This is not looking back, judging yourself. Well, you're judging yourself on how you have grown. That's really what this is about. Everyone behind this person has been an experience that they have overcome. And this I call my spirit warrior. And once I'm in this spirit warrior energy, nobody can knock that out of me. So these experiences are what made you who you are today. And I feel like what Divine is saying to you is to be proud of that. You know, don't look back at like what you might call mistakes, because those mistakes might be what became your best teacher. And yeah, not all love is going to work out. We just have to know that. We have to accept that. You know, I know that at 64 because I've been in quite a few relationships and I feel like I'm now in my ultimate relationship. I had to take a chance. I had to take a chance. Hmm. All right. Um, I just want to say someone could have certainly had a drinking problem, and you may also have like drank a lot with them, but then realize like this is not getting me anywhere. So I feel like, and I don't feel like that's everyone. I feel like it's a few, and that could be part of, that Three of Swords. I kind of feel like that's what the King of Cups is, to be honest. And I do feel like you were kind of dragged into their vibration, but now I feel like you're living your truth. So again, another reason to be proud of yourself. Don't be like, oh, what was I thinking? I mean, we can do that. What the hell was I thinking? I thought that when I first got married back in 79. Like very quickly, I was like, what was I thinking? You know, things that you think you cannot overcome, but then you do. But then you do. Okay. I feel like your reading is so clear. So what do I want to look at? What do I want to look at? We have the Page of Wands again. I feel like I'm just going to go right down the middle. So Page of Wands, like-minded energy. We're going to take what's face up first. We have another king, King of Wands. Could be younger, current. We have Three Swords, the Fool, new beginning, Three Cups, Nine of Swords. Okay, interesting. You remember when I said I feel like someone who's caused you, let's just say, a lot of problems, they may show again. And, I feel like this could be a temptation, but I feel like the Nine of Swords is kind of giving us a clue that worry will be the name of the game. I'll just be in a worried state all the time. What am I worrying about? Will my heart get broken again? But then we see the Fool. So again, I feel like you're saying no. Maybe you do think about it for a second. I mean, that is your prerogative. But with the Fool here, this is like a new beginning. Could this person evolve? Well, I certainly hope so. But I'm just going to be honest. Like the Three of Cups right before that, just because I felt like drinking, there was some type of temptations. But I feel like both had them. I feel like you've overcome, but I don't feel like they have. And I don't even like the way that they're coming in because I feel like here you are trying to have this new beginning, right? You're doing everything I feel right. I feel like your energy is evolving more and more to higher and higher levels. And therefore, what's manifesting back for you is of higher and higher levels. It almost feels like this is a test. Like, this is a test. Can I refuse it? And that is free will. So I can't say you will. I kind of hope you do. Um, But here's what I would say. I feel like in this energy, it won't take long for the truth to be revealed. So let's remember we have the sun everywhere. The awakened hangman, it is truth. The ace of swords, it is truth. But I feel like the truth lies within you. So being able to spot the truth quickly. And if you feel, number one, I want to say, if you feel, because you might still have some feelings, but that's just because you haven't met who you're going to meet. But let's say that you're really hung up on this person. The one thing I want to say is be careful because I do feel like there's something that you've overcome. I don't feel like they have. And I feel like that means that there's a good chance it could bring you right back into that lower vibrational energy. I feel like if anybody asks us to lower our vibration, not that they would say that, we just know that. Like, okay, if I'm going to be with this person, then I already know there's going to be a lot of worry. I don't know what's going on half the time. Okay. So I feel like I want to keep the fool on the table. And I kind of want to follow the fool for a minute. Just for a minute. We have the Knight of Wands. Excuse me one second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to shut my window. Someone is, I feel like they are using their weed eater. Like on what? On what? Though it is beautiful here today, I have to say. So, anyways, we have the Knight of Wands following the Fool, which is kind of beautiful because again, your passion, desire, can be swept off your feet, but this is after the fact, so I don't feel like this is, the past. I feel like this is the potential. It's interesting. I just said potential, but I feel it. I feel it. So I feel like there's going to be just a lot of passion rushing into your life. And I feel like it's for different reasons. Not just, it doesn't feel like one wish is coming true. It feels like really whatever you want, especially in the awakened state with divine timing right at your side. And then the magician, that's your power. That's your power to manifest. And because I feel like you are coming closer to knowing what you want, how you want your life to look, and then putting in, it's like laying the groundwork to get there. But I feel like a lot of this energy, it feels like divine is just saying, just simply do your part. And, that can mean different things for different people, and we will help with the rest. Okay. Something you could ask yourself too is if someone of the past or even the current, I did open the reading saying where I felt like existing relationships can heal. And I'm not going to leave that off the table. But what I am going to say is just be truthful with yourself, right? If you know there's an issue and someone's not willing to deal with that issue, well, then make a decision for yourself. You know what I mean? Look at this judgment, your spiritual team. To me, this means there's signs coming in. Judgment is calling you to the present moment. It's like get your head out of the past. Get your head out of the past. There's more life to live, baby. So we need you in the current moment because we're sending you some important signs, important guidance. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. All you need to do is be willing to take that leap of faith. By the way, he's looking right down that King of Pentacles, so I cannot give that King of Pentacles a bad rap. Not that I'm trying to. Okay, I feel like, holy shit, we got a lot of cards, but they're all face up. Okay, so I am going to take them, and then we'll let this part be. But let's take them. All right, we have the Death card, so closing of a door. You have two energies that speak about rebirths. So there could be two different rebirths in your life. First of all, I do want to say the Death card is Scorpio's major arcana. Um, and that could certainly relate for some of you. But if it's not a Scorpio for you, this is about, closing out the old so the new can open, so that the new can start entering into your life. Again, I feel like you're going to feel it all. Even you may even felt resistance with not closing a door. Like I could see your spiritual team making it more and more and more just, uncomfortable to the point where you now, again, the awakening man, you now know your own truth. So judgment wants you in the present moment. Well, that's exactly where the fold is in the present moment. This means signs are coming in fast and furious, but it's only to help with your growth. Eight of Swords. Well, pulling a death card. This is self-created prison. I was really hoping I didn't see it, but here it is. But these are those walls I was talking about way back in the beginning of the reading. Again, the Empress's energy. She doesn't build up these walls. This is what they call self-created prison. And it is your right. This is a free will energy. And the reason why I feel like we create this is we're trying to protect ourselves. I don't want my heart broken again. I don't want lied to again. Well, that's why you need to put these walls down, take off that blindfold so that you can see and feel the truth. When these walls come down, it's a true feeling of freedom. So something had you stuck in this energy. But this is you making that decision. I hate to say that, but it is self created. And you're the only person who can uncreate it. I mean, I completely understand it. And many of us do that. But as we start to evolve, especially on a spiritual level, we learn that we don't need these walls, right? We know the truth. We can see the truth. We can read people. We can feel their energy. And very quickly, we know. I think the problem can come in when we second guess it. And I'm saying that because all of a sudden I'm seeing Virgo down here, and one of Virgo's traits is overthinking something. But literally, freedom. That's what your spiritual team wants you to give yourself freedom. We have, well, hello, Six of Wands, victory. Victory and success right over the full. Seven of Wands under that Knight of Wands. Well, kind of how I'm reading it. This is about standing your ground. And I often feel in the Seven of Wands like I am putting out other people's fires. It can be like everything's coming at you, right? I put out one fire, another fire begins. Then another fire begins. But because it's next to victory and success, I feel like it is about the fires that you have put out. I definitely feel like some of you, like you're helping to put out other people's fires now. Like that's what you do. Or that's what you would be very good at. Five of Wands. Right under judgment, judgment is like, don't get pulled into the drama. Don't get pulled into other people's drama. Don't waste your time waiting for the wrong people to apologize. Because in the Five of Wands, I don't feel like you get it. But judgment it's like saying, but you won't need it. Trust us. This will all be the past. but it's drama filled. And I feel like that is what your spiritual team is saying. Like, just don't allow yourself to get pulled down into anybody else's drama. Walk away. Even if, like, you live with these people, go into your bedroom. You know what I mean? Like, separate yourself from it. There is that beautiful Empress. So now we do have the Emperor and the Empress. Oh my God. And the lovers. The Emperor, the Emperor, the Empress, the Empress, the lovers, the lovers. Holy cow. And then the Knight of Pentacles again. And hello, Destiny. Holy cow. I feel like the Empress came out at just the right time. The Empress doesn't live in the Eight of Swords energy. Again, why? Because she believes in herself. She knows that her lessons have taught her well. She can read other people's energy. And yeah, sometimes we can feel sorry for people and that can pull us into their plight. But I feel like your spiritual team is saying, don't get involved in anybody else's drama. The wheel, your destiny, and look at this beautiful Knight of Pentacles again. Knight of Pentacles, heading right towards that King of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles, here's that King of Pentacles with the wheel. Destiny. Wow. So there's those synchronicities I was looking for. I was hoping the Empress came out because I felt like that's the kind of power I felt with this couple. You know, I felt like they could collaborate together. You know, the Emperor and the Empress have both lived a lot of life. And I'm not talking about like you have to be old. You just had experiences, but both have learned from them. Both have learned to keep their hearts open. They remain compassionate and empathetic, but they are nobody's fool. You know, that's that power. That's the knowing of oneself. That's a refusal to lower my vibration to be with another. Holy cow. What? Well, you know, I was going to say, what a month. But this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. And I'm realizing also with the Nine of Cups and then the Nine of Pentacles, well, both lovers could be becoming single. But listen, this is your destiny. And I love that your spiritual team is like, do not get involved in drama. It won't help create but the abundance that I feel like is yours. Like predestined, it feels like. Even these lovers kind of feel predestined. You know, and where the Knight of Pentacles says, I come at the right time. Well, we have the Emperor who is at the top of his energy, the Empress at the top of her energy. Doesn't mean they're perfect again. Doesn't mean there's not still, you know, I'm not still learning. They're both open to that. Like, yes, I want to know as much as I can about the spiritual world, especially to use on this physical plane. Man, they would be great in business together. They're great in love together. They're different, but they have the ultimate goal in mind. I say they're different because the Empress is like very creative, where the Emperor is more methodical. But again, they both care about their fellow man and woman. And I could see, you know, doing something like for a living in that area. I feel like this is such a successful reading as it relates to your money. but also as it relates to your love. I feel like it is going to put you in a decision mode, and all I can do is hope and pray that, you know what I hope is that you feel your spiritual guidance. And to me, I feel like if you can feel your spiritual guidance, then I can let go of the worry. Okay. Wow. It's almost like, do I need to bring anything else out? Um, but we will bring out the romance angels, though I don't even know why. I also want to say, well, though I really don't want you to worry about a title, I do feel that this could also talk about some twin flames that are coming together. I want to say that are meeting, but they already know each other. Even like soulmates, you know each other. You'll know each other for eternity. But on this physical plane, you don't know that until you know that. If that makes sense. Retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. I love this image because I feel like this person is walking in nature, number one, which I feel is healing. I feel like the person, first of all, she's got a wedding dress on. But I feel like who she's speaking to is a spirit guide. Could be like her father figure, someone that I feel like she truly, truly trusts. I feel like she is asking her spiritual team, this person, for guidance. It may relate to love. So, you may know who this person is. You may have lived life with them in this lifetime. You definitely lived life together before. I do feel like this is someone who's lived life. That's why I'm saying it's a spiritual guide. And then we have chemistry. Well, no doubt. With the lovers everywhere, no doubt. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. I feel like I said that. I feel like I literally said that. I feel like you won't be able to deny this chemistry. You can deny the relationship, but I feel like you won't be able to deny the chemistry. Let's just do one more round. Okay. That didn't take long. Playfulness. Well, with the sun here twice, playfulness is an important part of the equation. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. Chemistry, playfulness. This sounds like a fun relationship. It sounds like the type of relationship, I'll be honest, it feels like the relationship Sam and I have. Allowing the playfulness of love and allowing yourself to feel the chemistry that, again, I feel is going to be undeniable. Remember, your spiritual team is right below all this. The wheel is right here. We started with Temperance, who said something is opening up in divine timing. When is divine timing? I feel like when we start to awaken, we're awakening to the truth. That's the best way of putting it. This is one hell of a reading, Cancer. One hell of a reading. Probably one of my favorite readings for you that I've done in a while. I mean, it's showing real abundance for you. But you do have to be willing to, put yourself in the mix. I feel like you do not need to hide who you are. The opposite, be proud of who you are. Even the things that you think are wrong. The things you don't like about yourself. I feel like whoever is in the lovers with you, those are the things they'll probably say, oh, that's what I love the most about you. Really? Yes. All right. I think I'm going to leave it there. Wow. There's a lot of information in this reading. I can already tell some are going to feel that way. And I know they're long, but there are certain readings I feel like sometimes you do have to watch them twice. And here's why, because I feel like when you first watch a reading, I feel like we're listening with our human ears. And then if we watch, and I always recommend this with a personal reading, always, like watch it the first time and then turn around and watch it again. And then down the road, like keep the reading in your back pocket. But as things start to turn, evolve, watch your reading again because I feel like you hear different messages when you're ready to hear them. And I feel that in these readings also. So I know they're long. And I know some of you are going to be like, there's no way in hell I'm going to watch it twice. Totally your choice. But for those who feel like they need to, I get it. Because I do feel like the second time you have your spiritual ears on. I loved your reading. No, I didn't like the hardships, but this is showing you overcoming them. You know, Cancer, you truly are meant to keep your heart open. And yeah, I know that means that sometimes the wrong people can play with that heart, but sometimes the right person comes along and it's everything. Okay. I love you guys. I thank you. I thank you for allowing me to do these long readings. I know not everybody stays to the end, but I know a lot of cancers do, and I really appreciate that. I feel like this is where our silver linings lie. Like the last part of the reading, or let's say the last one third, I feel like is where the silver lining is. But I love you. Thank you. I'll see you next time at our table. Sorry about my nail polish, by the way. I don't know why I chose blue, and although I love the color, I don't love it on my hands. So, um, but anyway, I love you. I'll see you next time. I, I pray that these blessings, that they find you with an open heart in the month of April. Beginning of the month can be just a little hairy, but I feel like it will just evolve from there. Go with the flow. Okay, I'm still reading. I love you guys. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.